You too. I know how this sounds. If someone told me this story, I'd probably tell them they needed sleep. Maybe a therapist, maybe less true crime, maybe stop watching Bones at 2 a.m, which is funny, because if I could go back and change one thing, it wouldn't be the Bones marathon. It wouldn't be the wine. It wouldn't even be the day I got fired. I'd go back to the days when my biggest problem was being tired. Back when it was just me, Josh, and Evelyn. Our house wasn't anything special. A little place outside Cincinnati. Too many baby bottles. Too much laundry. Not enough sleep. 6 months earlier, we'd brought Evelyn home from the hospital. 6 months later, she basically ran our lives. And honestly, I wouldn't have changed that. Josh definitely wouldn't have. He was one of those annoyingly good dads, the kind who heard the baby cry before anyone else, the kind who volunteered for diaper duty, the kind who somehow looked awake after getting 3 hours of sleep. I hated him for that. He worked for his brother Bryce's AI company. I never really understood what they actually did. Something with digital personalities, entertainment, virtual performers. Honestly, I figured they were building the next big hologram pop star, the future version of Hatsune Miku. Josh loved it, or at least the parts he was allowed to talk about. Lately, he'd become obsessed with this AI-generated, all-girl pop-punk band called Drip Panic. Obsessed. Their music was always playing. In the car, in the kitchen, through the smart speakers, everywhere. One morning, I finally snapped. Sarah, how is your fake band your favorite band? Josh, they're not fake. Sarah, they literally don't exist. Josh, they exist digitally. Sarah, that is somehow the most Josh answer possible. He laughed. And I laughed too, because that's who we were, or who we had been. The week before everything happened, I lost my job. I was a middle school teacher. At least, I used to be. A phishing scam hit the school. I clicked something I shouldn't have. $6,000 disappeared. A week later, so did my career. At least that's how it felt. I cried harder than I expected. Not because of the money. Because teaching wasn't just what I did. It was who I was. And suddenly, it was gone. I remember sitting on the couch after they called, just staring at the wall, trying to figure out what I was supposed to do next. Josh sat down beside me, didn't interrupt, didn't try to fix it, didn't tell me everything would be okay. He just sat there and listened. Eventually, he squeezed my hand. Josh, Bryce says this next contract is huge. Sarah, what if nobody hires me again? Josh, they will. Sarah, what if they don't? Josh, then I become wildly successful making hologram punk girls. I laughed. A real laugh. The first one I'd had all day. Then he got serious. Josh, hey. Sarah, what? Josh, Evelyn gets more time with you. I looked away, because he knew exactly where to hit. Josh, and less time getting dropped off at your mom's every morning. That part mattered. My mom had been watching Evelyn while we worked, and she loved it. Honestly, she probably would have watched her for free 24 hours a day if we'd let her. But every morning I dropped Evelyn off. It felt like I was missing something, like somebody else was getting moments I couldn't get back. First smiles, funny faces, little things. The stuff nobody tells you you're going to miss. So Josh was right. I hated admitting it. But he was right. The next few days settled into a routine. Breakfast, bottles, laundry, naps, repeat. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. And for the first time in months, I wasn't rushing somewhere. I was just at home. Of course, having all that extra time created a new problem. A problem named Bones. I had always loved that show. But when I was teaching, I never had time to binge watch anything. Now, I had way too much time. Josh would go to bed. Evelyn would finally fall asleep. And I'd tell myself, just one episode. You already know where this is going. One episode became 3. 3 became 5. And before I knew it, the sun was coming up. One morning I was making breakfast. Eggs, bacon, the usual. Josh came into the kitchen looking like he hadn't slept nearly enough. Which was impressive, because somehow he always looked like that, and still functioned like a normal human being. I don't know how he did it. He sat down at the table, took one bite of bacon, then frowned dramatically. Josh, we're out of coffee. I didn't even look up. Sarah, oh no. Josh, this may be the end. Sarah, should I call someone? Josh, tell Evelyn I loved her. I rolled my eyes, then held up my can of root beer. Sarah, want this? The look he gave me was immediate. Pure offense. Josh, you know I don't drink root beer. Sarah, yes I do. Josh, trauma. I laughed. Every single time, the story never changed. When Josh was a kid, some neighborhood bully dumped a 2-liter bottle of root beer over his head. Apparently, the nickname Root Beer Josh followed him around for months. He hated the smell, hated the taste, wouldn't touch the stuff, ever. At the time, that felt like one of those random, little facts you learn about someone after years together. One of those details that doesn't matter until it does. Josh grabbed his keys, walked over to Evelyn's high chair, and kissed the top of her head. "Josh, be good for your mother." Evelyn immediately threw a piece of banana at him. "Josh, that's fair." I laughed. He put on his favorite black drip panic hoodie, the one he wore constantly, and headed for the door. "Sarah, love you." "Josh, love you too." The door closed, and for a little while, everything felt normal. Looking back, that's probably what scares me most. How normal it all felt. How ordinary. How completely unaware I was that something had already started. Something I couldn't see. Not yet. Later that afternoon, Evelyn finally went down for a nap. And since I had stayed up half the night watching Bones, I decided to take one too. When you're a parent, sleep becomes less of a luxury and more of a survival mechanism. I crawled into bed, closed my eyes, and the next thing I remember was waking up because I felt Josh's arm around me. Warm, heavy, comforting, half asleep. I smiled. "Sarah, you come home early?" I rolled over and froze. Nobody. No Josh. No indentation in the mattress. No sound. Nothing. I sat up, heart pounding, just staring at the empty side of the bed, trying to understand what had happened. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny, because I felt stupid. I was exhausted. I was stressed. I wasn't sleeping. Of course my brain was doing weird things. That's what I told myself anyway. And for a while, I believed it. The next day, Josh suggested I get outside. My mom suggested the same thing. Apparently, everyone had decided sunshine was going to fix me. So naturally, I decided to murder a flower garden. I was in the backyard planting flowers while Evelyn napped. The baby monitor clipped to my pocket. Dirt on my hands. Birds chirping. A perfectly normal afternoon. For a while, I was kneeling beside a flower bed when I heard it. Static, just a little. The kind baby monitors make sometimes. I barely noticed it. Then, voice.
"Sir."
I froze. Slowly looked down at the monitor. Nothing, just static. Then, voice.
"Sarah."
I stood up, heart suddenly beating a little faster. I pulled the monitor closer, listening, waiting. And then, voice.
"Sarah."
Silence. No crying, no movement, no background noise, just silence. I dropped the trowel and ran inside, straight to Evelyn's room. She was asleep, peacefully, not moving, not making a sound. I checked the closet, under the crib, the bathroom, every room upstairs. Nothing, nobody. I stood in the nursery staring at the monitor, trying to come up with a reasonable explanation. Maybe interference, maybe another monitor nearby, maybe some weird electronic glitch. I don't know. What I do know is this. It didn't sound like somebody saying my name. It sounded like something learning it. I didn't tell Josh, not yet. I knew how ridiculous it sounded. And honestly, part of me was embarrassed. I had already lost my job. I was barely sleeping. I was binge-watching crime shows every night. I didn't exactly feel like the most reliable witness, so I kept it to myself. Big mistake. That evening I was folding laundry in the living room. One of Josh's favorite Drip Panic songs was playing through the smart speaker. I couldn't tell you the title. They all sounded the same to me. Fast guitars, angry lyrics, artificially generated rebellion. Josh loved it. I tolerated it. The song ended. I kept folding. A tiny crackle came through the speaker. Static. Then, voice.
"Sarah."
I dropped a towel. The room went completely still. No music, no movement, nothing, just me, listening. Then the next song started playing. Like nothing had happened. I stared at the speaker, waiting. Nothing. A few minutes later, the smart home assistant chimed. System. Welcome home, Josh. I looked toward the front door. Nobody. The door was still locked. No footsteps. No car in the driveway. Nothing. I actually got up and checked, twice. Nobody was there. I wish I could tell you that was the moment I realized something was wrong. It wasn't. That's the problem with weird things. When they happen one at a time, there's always an explanation. Always a reason. Always an excuse. It wasn't one thing that scared me. It was the accumulation. The little pieces. The moments that didn't fit together. And at the time, I was still convinced there had to be a rational explanation. There always is, right? At least that's what I kept telling myself. That night I stayed up watching Bones again. because apparently my coping mechanisms were terrible. And because of that, the next morning started with a migraine. I woke up feeling like someone had driven a railroad spike through my forehead. The migraine was brutal. Even opening my eyes felt like work. Josh took one look at me and immediately switched into dad mode. He got Evelyn, made breakfast, let me stay in bed. I remember hearing him downstairs. Cabinets opening, the coffee maker sputtering, Evelyn laughing at something. Normal sounds, safe sounds. Before he left for work, he came into the bedroom and sat beside me. I could barely keep my eyes open. Josh, how's the head? Sarah, I think I'm dying. Josh, convenient. We just lost our life insurance. I groaned. He smiled, then kissed my forehead. Josh, get some sleep. Sarah, I love you. Josh, I know. Sarah, wrong movie. Josh, still counts. A few minutes later, I heard the front door close. And that was that. Or so I thought. I must have fallen asleep again. Because the next thing I remember was Evelyn crying. Not screaming, just upset. The kind of cry that says, "Come get me, now." I dragged myself out of bed, my head still pounding, picked her up, and carried her into her room. She calmed down almost immediately. I remember standing there rocking her, looking out the nursery window, trying to convince myself I felt better. Then I walked into the kitchen and stopped. Josh was sitting at the table. At first, my brain didn't even register anything unusual, because it was Josh. People don't expect to see something impossible. Your brain always reaches for the simplest answer first. So for a few seconds, I just stood there, watching him. He was eating breakfast, eggs, bacon, a banana, the exact same thing he ate almost every morning. The only problem was, it was almost 1 p.m. He was wearing a gray t-shirt, one of his, not the clothes he'd left for work in. That should have stood out immediately. It didn't. Not then. What stood out was something else, the way he was chewing. I know that sounds ridiculous, trust me, I know. But when you've lived with someone long enough, you notice things. Tiny things. The rhythm of how they walk, the way they laugh, the way they sit, the way they chew. And this wasn't right. It was close, very close, but wrong, like somebody had studied Josh, without actually being him. I stood there for several seconds before speaking. Sarah. Josh? He looked up. No smile, no warmth, just looked at me, waiting, watching. Sarah. Did you come home for lunch? Nothing. Then I noticed the can sitting beside his plate. Root beer. Open, half empty. My stomach tightened. Sarah. I thought you hated root beer. For a moment he just stared at me. Then, Josh. Oh. Flat, emotionless, like he'd just remembered a fact. Not a memory, a fact. He stood, walked to the sink, and poured it down the drain. No frustration, no joke, no explanation, just compliance. I remember feeling a chill crawl up my back, because that's not what Josh would have done. Josh would have laughed, made a joke, teased me, something, anything. Instead, nothing. Then Evelyn started crying again. Louder this time. I glanced toward the hallway, then back at him. Sarah. Josh, what is wrong with you? No answer. I shook my head and carried Evelyn back to her room, trying to convince myself I was overreacting, trying to convince myself I was still half asleep. That's when my phone buzzed. I looked down. A text from Josh. Hey babe, checking on you. Feeling any better? Sorry, I'm stuck here longer than expected. We've got some kind of emergency situation at work. Love you. I stared at the message. Read it again, then a third time. My blood went cold, because Josh wasn't supposed to be texting me from work. Josh was sitting in my kitchen. I turned, ran down the hallway, back into the kitchen, and stopped. Empty. The chair pushed in. The plate gone. No footsteps. No sound. No open door. Nothing. Just an empty kitchen, like nobody had ever been there at all. That's when I called my mom. My mom was at the house in less than 20 minutes. That's one of the perks of having a mother, who thinks every phone call is an emergency. I was sitting at the kitchen table when she arrived. Evelyn on my lap, trying very hard not to cry. Mom listened to everything. The voice on the monitor, the speaker, the smart home assistant, the kitchen, Josh, the text message, all of it. She didn't interrupt once, which honestly made me feel worse, because the longer I talked, the crazier it sounded. When I finally finished, she reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Grandma. Honey, I already knew what was coming. Grandma. You lost your job. I nodded. Grandma. You're exhausted. Another nod. Grandma. You're staying up half the night watching murder shows." That one earned a small sigh. "Grandma, your brain is tired." And the worst part? Everything she said made sense. Every single bit of it. Because if someone else had told me this story, that's exactly what I would have said too. Stress, sleep deprivation, an overactive imagination. The problem was, it had felt real. Every bit of it. Mom stayed until Josh got home. When I saw him pull into the driveway, I almost started crying again. Not because I was scared, because I was relieved. He walked inside, saw my face, and immediately knew something was wrong. "Josh, what happened?" Mom looked at me, giving me the choice. So I told him. Again, everything. The monitor, the speaker, the kitchen, the text. All of it. I kept waiting for the look. The one people give you when they've decided you're crazy. It never came. Josh listened. The entire time. When I finished, he sat beside me. "Josh, that sounds terrifying." Not, "That didn't happen." Not, "You're imagining things." Just, "That sounds terrifying." I started crying, again, because somehow that made me feel seen. "Josh, I believe that you believe it happened." I looked at him. "Josh, and honestly?" He shrugged. "Josh, if I'd been watching Bones every night for a week, I'd probably see Bigfoot in the kitchen." I laughed. Against my will. Mom laughed too. And just like that, some of the tension disappeared. Not all of it. Just enough. Enough for me to start doubting myself again. Maybe Mom was right. Maybe I needed sleep. Maybe I needed sunlight. Maybe I needed to stop watching murder investigations at 3 a.m. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation. That night I skipped Bones. No wine. No late-night binge watching. Just dinner. A little television. The kind of boring evening that married couples have all the time. And honestly, it was wonderful. I remember sitting on the couch with Josh after Evelyn finally fell asleep. Drip Panic playing quietly from his phone. Me making fun of the band. Him defending them. Like always. Normal. Everything felt normal. Later, when we went upstairs, my husband held me like everything was okay. Like we were okay. I won't get into details, but for the first time in days, I felt connected to him again. Connected to us. Lying there afterward, I remember thinking something that breaks my heart now. Maybe I really am just exhausted. Maybe everything is okay. I fell asleep feeling safer than I had all week. The next morning felt normal too, which is exactly why what happened next destroyed me. The next morning started like every other morning. Breakfast, coffee, bottles, diapers, the usual chaos. Josh left for work around 8. Kissed me, kissed Evelyn, promised he'd be home on time. Then he was gone. For a little while, everything felt normal. Evelyn went down for her afternoon nap. I decided to take a bath. Nothing fancy. I just wanted 30 minutes where nobody needed anything from me. No crying, no laundry, no phones, just silence. I lowered myself into the water, closed my eyes, and for the first time in days, I felt calm. Then the baby monitor crackled, a sharp burst of static, followed by crying. Not normal crying. Panicked crying. The kind that immediately makes your heart stop. I was out of the tub before my brain caught up. Water everywhere, towel around my waist, bare feet pounding across the hallway. I pushed open Evelyn's door and froze. Josh was standing beside the crib, holding Evelyn. At first, my brain tried to do what it always did. Find the easy answer. Josh came home early. Josh forgot something. Josh took a half day. Anything. But then I saw Evelyn. She was terrified, screaming, red-faced, crying harder than I had ever seen. That was wrong, because when Josh held Evelyn, she calmed down. Always. Every single time. Not now. Now, she looked like she wanted to get away from him. The room felt suddenly cold. I stood in the doorway, unable to move, unable to think. Josh slowly turned toward me, still holding her, still staring. No smile, no expression, just watching. Sarah. Josh? Nothing. He tilted his head slightly, almost curious, like he was trying to understand me. Then finally, Josh, you know I don't drink root beer. My stomach dropped. The words hit me like a punch, not because of what he said, because of when he said it. It didn't belong here. It didn't belong now. It was like listening to somebody replay an old conversation. The wrong memory. At the wrong time, like a recording that had gotten damaged. I took a step backward. He didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't react. Just stood there, holding my daughter, watching me. That's when I knew. Not suspected. Not wondered. Knew. Something was wrong. Something was very, very wrong. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped my phone. I called Josh. The real Josh. He answered immediately. Josh, Sarah? I started crying before I could even speak. Sarah. Josh? That was all I got out. The panic in my voice did the rest. There was movement on his end. Fast movement. A chair scraping. People talking. Something happening. Then, Josh. Sarah? A pause. Then his voice changed. Not confused, not skeptical. Afraid. Josh. Get Evelyn. Another pause. Longer this time. Josh. Get out of the house. My heart stopped, because Josh never panicked. Not like that. Never. I looked out the nursery window and saw his white Camry turning onto our street. Relief hit me so hard my knees almost gave out. I looked back into the room. Josh was gone. Just gone. The crib, the rocking chair, the baby toys. Empty, like he had never been there. I didn't waste another second. I grabbed Evelyn, ran downstairs, threw open the front door. Josh pulled into the driveway. I had never been happier to see anyone in my life. Sarah. Josh! He jumped out of the car. I started toward him, then stopped. My phone. I had left it upstairs, still in Evelyn's room. For 1 second, I hesitated. Then I handed Evelyn's diaper bag to Josh. Sarah. 1 second. And ran back inside, just for my phone. Just a few seconds. Nothing more. Looking back, that's the moment I replay more than any other. Not because I know what happened. Because I don't. I just know that when I came back outside, everything looked normal. And sometimes, that's the scariest thing of all. I climbed into the passenger seat, still shaking, still trying to catch my breath. Evelyn was crying in the back. Josh put the car in reverse, and we left. For a few seconds, nobody spoke. I was trying to figure out where to even begin. How do you explain something like that? How do you tell someone you just saw them standing in a room they couldn't possibly be standing in? I looked over at Josh, the real Josh. Safe, familiar, normal, and for the first time all day, I felt like we were going to be okay. Then we passed the house, and I happened to glance up. At the second floor window, there was a figure standing there. Josh, pounding on the glass, screaming, his face twisted in panic, his mouth moving, desperately trying to tell me something. I stared, frozen. Then we turned the corner, and he disappeared from view. I remember leaning back in my seat, closing my eyes, taking the deepest breath I'd taken all day. It was over. Whatever had been in that house, we had left it behind. At least that's what I thought. A few seconds later, I heard a sound. Soft, small, almost nothing. Fizz. I opened my eyes, looked down. Cup holder. There was an open can of root beer sitting between us. My blood turned to ice. For a second, I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. I just stared at it. The condensation running down the side. The tiny bubbles rising to the surface. The smell. Then very slowly, I looked up. At Josh. He was already looking at me. Smiling. Not a big smile. Not a threatening smile. Not an evil smile. Just wrong. Like somebody had studied how Josh smiled. Memorized it. Practiced it. And gotten close. Close enough to fool almost anyone. But not close enough. Not me. The smile never reached his eyes. And it stayed on his face just a little too long. I felt my stomach drop. I looked into the rearview mirror. At Evelyn. Then back at him. And that was the last thing I remember. The smile, still there, waiting, knowing. The world went black.
System initializing. Memory reconstruction incomplete. Subject identification confirmed. Sarah Miller. Cognitive persona instability detected. Attempting memory recovery. Signal found.
Josh?
Signal degradation detected.
Evelyn?
Memory corruption increased. Attempting stabilization. Unsuccessful.
Please.
Josh, we should terminate the build. The memory collapse remains above threshold.
No, I'm not losing her again.
She's degrading.
I don't care.
Josh, I'm sorry.
Try it again. She's still in there. System error. Memory sequence terminated. End of recording.